Our first night in Poland was spent at the Regent Hotel in Warsaw. After an excellent breakfast, we joined a local guide and travelled to Chopin Park, where the guide spoke about the famous composer. Then, after visiting this viewpoint, we drove across the city to the Jewish Ghetto Museum, with its monument to the heroes of the uprising and to the women and children who died there.
I told you that also 2 million people were killed by Russians, yes? Just for nothing. 20,000 young boys, young girls, men.
A visit to the old town square
Royal Castle after the second victory and panoramic view of the
and the old town walls was followed by a stop for lunch in a restaurant with a library.
Then we boarded the bus for the journey to the Arken Park Hotel in Gdansk.
The next morning saw us at the Solidarity Museum.
They were afraid. Both sides, this very shipyard was protected by shipyard workers because they had to be responsible for their place of job. There was no alcohol. People were in trouble because they were afraid.
A walk along the harbour and through the town filled the rest of the morning.
After lunch, we travelled to the enormous Malbark Castle, founded by the Teutonic Knights in the 18th century, ruined by the Russians in the 20th century, and now restored by the Poles to its former glory.
As we toured the castle, the brilliant guide told us more facts, figures and dates than we could possibly remember. The photo opportunities were just too many. Only some of them are here. In Torun the next day, the guide told us about the Teutonic castle remains there, including the Leaning Tower, which leans more than the Tower of Pisa.
This was the birthplace of Copernicus, who discovered that the Earth travels round the Sun, so he featured large in our guide's speech. He also told us about this statue of Pope Paul, one of many in Poland.
In Poznan, the guide took us to this church and then to this monument which commemorates the Polish uprising against Soviet control in 1956.
In the ancient square, we had decided we had enough history and found a shady spot to enjoy a beer. The following morning, we left the Novotel, heading for Krakow, with a stop at Jasna Gora Monastery, where one of the monks, Roman, told us the story of the Black Madonna and led us into the church to see the holy icon.
And then, after a tour of the treasury, where photos aren't permitted, we continued our journey to the Conrad Hotel.
The Jewish quarter, which sadly became the ghetto, was the first stop in our tour of Krakow.
Followed by a visit to the castle.
Later, in the square, we enjoyed another beer while waiting for the bugler to perform. Oh, there he is at the top window. And then explored Old Town a little more.
A journey on busy roads took us to Zakopane, which is very different to lowland Poland.
Most of our group took the train up the mountain, but we wandered off in the other direction and just enjoyed a walk through the town. Before travelling back through the hilly landscape.
The last place we visited on this trip was Auschwitz, where I mainly took pictures outside the buildings, as taking pictures of personal property seemed disrespectful to the victims of this dreadful place.
We then returned to the Regent Hotel in Warsaw, and in the evening we walked through the park and enjoyed a good meal at the friendly Tbilisi Georgian restaurant.